Hey guys, Nick here, and this is my review of the Flexispot 48 by 30 inch programmable sit-stand desk. Now, I've seen some other YouTubers review this after having the unit shipped out to them. I, on the other hand, have no affiliation or contact with Flexispot. I just took a gamble and bought this with my hard-earned cash, as I was tired of sitting on my ass for the past 13 months. Thanks, COVID. This desk does go on sale quite often, and the price varies on Amazon and Flexispot.com, so I'll leave both links down in the description so you can see which site has it cheaper at any given moment in time. Anyway, I'll walk you through the unboxing and assembly, and I'll also take you under the hood to see how cable management might work. And then the overall experience after having this desk for about a month now. So stay tuned. And spoiler alert, I actually really like it. So first of all, the unboxing. This thing was shipped pretty nicely, and it did come in 2 separate shipments a few days apart, which was kind of a bummer. On the web, you can order just the frame or the frame and top combination, and I went for the all-white combo. The frame comes packed with separate steel parts, and these are pretty heavy industrial-grade steel. You also get the motor spindle, a power supply, and the control panel. This desk's single linear motion motor comes already attached to the right leg, so you don't have to mess around with that, which is good, but there is still quite a bit of assembly required. Assembly overall was pretty easy, but would definitely be easier if I had a friend. Well, a lot of things would be easier if I had a friend. Anyway, so everything is labeled pretty nicely, so which wrench and which screws to use on what, although I did struggle with the Allen wrenches as I usually do when building things. But you basically attach the 2 legs to the 2 feet, and each foot of the unit has a plastic riser installed on the bottom, in case your floor is as crooked and uneven as mine is. You'll see I dropped the leg with the motor attached, which is something you probably don't want to do, but luckily everything still works fine, which is really a testament to how well this thing is built and the quality of the parts. After the legs are ready, you just need to attach both of them to the support beam. And the way the instructions are written, it sounds like you have to magically size up the leg frames to the tabletop while building it. So that stalled me a bit to try and figure that out, but don't worry, you can adjust the metal frame length at the end to line up with your tabletop. After that's done, you need to install the rotating rod, and quick note, don't over-tighten this or else that'll add extra strain to the motor when going up and down. Finally, install the 2 side brackets to hold your tabletop in place, and you're all set. So far, everything has been nuts, bolts, and Allen wrenches, all pretty straightforward. And while I had spread things out and took a few breaks, the actual building process only took around 45 minutes. When you're ready to install the tabletop, now this is when you can adjust the entire frame you just built to line up with the pre-installed holes. There are a few places to screw in on both sides, and you'll want to screw in the support beam to the center of the desk. I really like the tabletop from Flexispot. It's a nice glossy piece, and it's pretty thick and heavy, so definitely not particle board or the IKEA Special. Now, speaking of IKEA, I did think about doing the standard IKEA kitchen tabletop thing that everyone else does, but to make life simple, I just ordered everything from Flexispot in one shot. But it's still nice to know that I can always replace the top with something else if I felt like it down the line. Once the tabletop is attached, you need to screw in the electronic components, so the control pad and the power adapter. And for whatever reason, Flexispot did not include pre-installed holes for the power adapter, and they were also missing a few holes for the support beam. So that meant taking another break and going to find the drill and appropriate drill bit. Nothing too crazy, but still, pre-installed holes would have been nice. Be careful not to drill through the nice desktop you just dropped cash on as well. You want to go just deep enough to get your screws started. After that, they have these 2 brackets, which I'm not really sure what they're there for, I guess to protect the tension rod. From what, I don't know, but nonetheless, screw those in and you're pretty much done. The finished product clearly needs some cable management, and Flexispot did include some solutions in the kit, but not nearly enough for this mess. Cable management took me a few hours over the course of several days, and was actually more difficult than building the desk. However, I knew I couldn't leave that rat's nest, so since I still had the drill out, I decided to screw in a power strip, which was the first step to managing the cables. And you can see a bit of wobble here as I'm pulling and pushing the power strip, and yes, the wobble is real with this desk when it's in stand mode. And I'll address that in a few minutes, but I'll say now that I hardly notice it when I'm doing basic office tasks using the desk, which basically consists of typing and moving my mouse around. The cable management ties Flexispot provided are very good and strong, and I wish I could find the exact ones on Amazon, because the ones I did end up buying were some random fake 3M ones from China. These hardly stuck at all, and they looked like they had been sitting, rotting in the sun in a warehouse for decades before actually being shipped to my door. I ended up spending around $7 on cable ties and adhesive from Lowe's instead, which worked much better, and I'll leave the exact ones I ended up buying down below as well. So once I got the cable management all sorted, the desk is starting to look pretty crisp and tidy. So let's talk about my experience over the past several weeks using this as my daily work desk. First off, the surface area is great. Again, this is the 48 by 30 inch desk, and they do have different sizes, but I can easily have 2 monitors, the IKEA drawer storage thingy, a laptop, an iPad, and a cold brew, fitting all comfortably without ever really feeling crammed in. The desk can apparently support 154 pounds, which is heavier than anything I have around, including myself. And it also can go from 28 inches to 47.5 at a speed of around 1 inch per second. The programmable remote is great and responsive, and it can save up to 3 configurations, so I have it for sitting, standing, and then slightly taller when standing, and I alternate between all 3 modes constantly throughout the day. It takes around 12 seconds for it to go from 28 inches to 42.5, and it's not the quietest thing in the world, but it's also not so loud or slow that I dread moving the desk to its different settings. Now let's talk about that wobble. This desk does indeed rock back and forth, as I'd seen in other reviews. Now that said, and again I want to stress I have no affiliation with Flexispot whatsoever, thanks to my low subscriber count, so feel free to hit that subscribe button to help me out. But I'm not shilling here when I say that the wobble really doesn't bother me. At sitting position, this thing is solid as a rock, no problems whatsoever. In standing position, this is where you'll notice that wobble. So yes, if you plan on getting your Ultimate Warrior on, shaking the desk repeatedly, you will no doubt notice and be bothered by the shaking. However, if most of your work involves just staring blankly at a computer screen, waiting for the clock to turn to 5:30, then the wobble really isn't an issue at all. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this desk. As I said, I'd been sitting on a cheap IKEA chair for the past 13 months due to the pandemic, and because I hadn't been walking around Manhattan on lunch breaks, paired with what seemed to be longer working days, my health actually started to decline a bit. The standing desk has definitely helped already thus far, relieving some of the issues I've been dealing with from excessive sitting and limited physical activity. Now for me, having a programmable remote was a must-have, and I was happy to find a desk with this feature for under $300. If you're looking for a standing desk, yes, there are definitely better ones out there for double or even triple this price point, but this is by no means a budget product. Sure, I wish there was a bit less wobble when fully extended, but again, unless you're constantly shaking this thing, simple tasks like typing, moving the mouse, and scribbling some notes down are not going to show up on the Richter scale. That's about it for me. All product links will be in the description. If you liked the video or found it helpful, make sure to drop me a like. It helps the algorithm, you know that. If you have any questions or feel like trolling, toss a comment down below. I usually feed the trolls. And hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I'd love to have you on board the quick tech train. So we'll see you in the next one. You take care now.